Welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, everybody, or as we like to call it, the Triad Podcast, where we try not to have the podcast up, and I almost had it right, but not quite today. So, probably the best place to start is let's talk about House of David, episodes 6 through 8.
Or 16.
Now, Trevor, how about you go first this time? Explain what you thought of these last 3 episodes.
I thought it was a good show.
Good night, everybody.
Sorry, that was me.
Not very biblical, but let's bring it back to the Jesse thing. I did ask the question in my head: does the Bible actually talk about Jesse's wife? And so I got to digging. You know, King David's mom, and I found this. Does the Bible mention David's mother? And apparently, to Jewish legend, her name was Nitzevet.
Okay.
Nitzevet?
Okay.
But there is no biblical confirmation of the name. It's just like legend or lore.
Well, did Jesse marry her unlawfully in the Jewish legend? Because that might give it a basis.
So I was going to read this. David's father, Jesse, lived in Bethlehem and was from the tribe of Judah. And then David was the youngest of 8 brothers. That's in 1 Samuel 17, 12 through 14. This is just, what do you call it when you're not actually quoting?
Paraphrasing.
Paraphrase.
Yeah.
It's kind of a paraphrase type thing. David also had 2 sisters, Zeruiah and Abigail, from 1 Chronicles 2:16.
So he had 2 sisters. We only met one. So we added all this crud, but we couldn't add the one new sister? We'll add all this information about David being a bastard, but we can't get both sisters right. That would be too much. Am I hearing that correctly?
Something like that, yeah.
Great.
Some believe David's sisters, Abigail and Zeruiah, may have been his half-sisters of this other woman, Nitzevet, and that their father was not Jesse, but Nahash. In the book of 2 Samuel refers to Abigail as the daughter of Nahash.
Wait a minute. This makes their situation, the writer's situations, worse.
Hang on, I'm getting there.
Oh my goodness.
It's trying to put it together. So the daughter of Nahash and sister of Zeruiah. I don't know how to pronounce that. The mother of Joab. That's in 2 Samuel 17:25.
Mm-hmm.
Nahash was an Ammonite king. 1 Samuel 11:1.
Mm-hmm.
Speculation suggests that David's mother had been married to Nahash when she bore the half-sisters, and then later became the second wife of Jesse. Further speculation implies that David's mother was not yet married to Jesse when she became pregnant.
Speculation by whom?
Just speculation.
Speculation on the part of the show?
It just says...
Does that would technically count as speculation?
This has nothing to do with the show.
Okay, so no, this is still Jewish tradition?
Yeah, Jewish.
I'm just checking, Trevor. Just want to make sure we got the facts right.
Jewish legend.
Okay. So he based it off Jewish legend. That's something.
Yeah.
Kind of. But, that's fair. If it's Jewish legend, it's fair.
Okay, so in Jewish tradition, David's mother was Nitzevet, daughter of Adel and the wife of Jesse.
Okay.
So, so this is later in the thing here. Due to his doubts, Jesse stopped having marital relations with Nitzevet after she born her seventh son. Instead, Jesse planned to marry his Canaanite servant and have children with her.
Which obviously didn't happen.
Yeah. However, the maidservant had pity on Nisebet and offered Nisebet a plan. On the wedding night, Nisebet and the maidservant could secretly switch places. And then, so Nisebet could sleep with Jesse one more time. The switch worked, much as Leah and Rachel's worked on Jacob.
Which,
And
they'd be paralleling the stories, I'm sure.
Yeah, and Nisebet became pregnant with David,
Ah.
her 8th son.
Oh, that's interesting. Trevor, where did you dig that up? That's excellent.
What a
It's literally-
hodgepodge.
It's literally on a website. I can send you the link if you want.
No, you're good. Yeah, go ahead and send it for the audience. Maybe put it in the chat so the audience can look it up. And then I'll look it up later.
Okay.
That'd be
It's
good.
on gotquestions.org.
It's got questions. Okay, yeah. That's interesting. All right, I have a bit of a different theory. Rhymes with pie. But anyway, so
Bye.
what's your general thoughts about the show as a whole?
I liked it, but as far as biblical goes, I don't think it was really that biblical. So it's a good show, but it doesn't line up quite well. So I don't honestly, I don't think a lot of Christians are gonna like it, but
Yeah.
a lot of secular people will like it as a show.
See, I'm not sure they will, and that's the problem. Because
much
basics...
God.
No, well, there's that, but there's also a lot of basic story structure issues. So, for example, the show being called House of David when it should just be called Saul's wife. That woman...
House of Saul's wife.
that woman gets more screen time than David in the House of David. It's ridiculous.
I think everybody gets a little more screen time.
And
than
yeah,
David
it's
does.
like, okay, thank you for the discount Cersei, but we didn't really need her. No, again, this isn't
Right?
necessarily to like insult the actress. The actress did fine, and that is one thing I'll compliment the show about is that all the actors are amazing.
Yeah.
Like everybody does a good job with their performances. Very good.
I will say this: the writing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they took from many different stories. Like there were a few Star Wars quotes in there that I was like,
They
snuck those in.
there were moments where I was like, are you stealing from Lord of the Rings, or is that
Lord
an
of the Rings.
homage? If it's an homage, I could appreciate it. But if it's stealing from, if it's a shameless theft, then we've got a problem.
Yeah.
So,
Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Game of Thrones. They
yeah.
kind of meshed all those together.
Yeah, there were several things. I did notice that. There were several things that were very, I don't know what the word is. Either homages or theft, and I wasn't sure which. If they're homages, I appreciate it. But they literally stole the Aragorn, "This is a good sword" line.
Yeah.
They gave Jonathan Aragorn's "This is a good sword."
Yeah.
was like,
that
really?
whole scene was
Really?
playing in my head. I was like, what?
I mean, if you're fans, I guess that's good, but you better be fans. That's all I
literally
gotta
waiting.
say.
Waiting on the full Aragorn dialogue for him to turn around and just start saying the whole thing.
Yeah, there will be a day. Yeah, but it ain't
Yeah.
David, it's Jonathan. All right, so you got any other thoughts on it? Because I have sticky notes I need to get through.
Nah, get through your stickies.
No, I want you to make sure you have your say, bud.
Let's. No, that was my say.
Okay, all right. Well, show
Time
sucked.
to get sticky.
Show sucked. That's my opening statement. That's my thesis statement. Show sucked. Here's why. Episode 5 is absolutely abysmal. We talked about that last week, but it got my hopes up, which was like the worst part because episode 6 and 7 actually moved in a linear direction where things happened and they mattered. I know that sounds like a very low bar, but we actually got Samuel, and this is crazy, Trevor. I couldn't believe we watched it. We actually got Samuel in 6 and 7 mentoring David. You remember how I absolutely lost my ever-loving gourd last week because we'd had no scenes of David and Samuel actually interacting, no mentor-student dynamic, nothing like that.
Except for when he anointed David.
Except for when he anointed. It was like, well, you're king, bye. And then he was gone. But, he comes back. I'm not entirely sure why. I guess because the plot needed to happen and we need to finish the arc. But he does come back, and, you've got the mentorship stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is what should have happened in episode 3. Glad we're here. So, they're doing, I guess it would be episode 4 because he got anointed in 3. But anyway, so we actually had some good scenes between David and Samuel. I believe we actually had a couple of good scenes with Saul and David, like 2, where he's like playing for Saul by himself.
Yeah,
that was good. That it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough at all. And here's really probably the main problem with this thing is you have an issue where you've got to explain how in the world David was like logistically allowed to go out and face the giant, right? Because it was an anomalous situation, but we're not told the details as to how that actually happened. And so the advantage of having a show like this is that you have the opportunity to explain how David was actually able to get out in front of the giant and face him. We didn't get that. It was very weird because the only way that this would have worked is if Saul and David actually had, rapport. Like, they had more than 2 scenes together, and maybe David could have, like, explained, how he fought all these different animals and stuff in the fields or whatever. Or maybe he could have been training with Jonathan while he's playing, the harp for Saul. Like, there's a couple different ways you could have done it, but he needs to have some element of, like, combat experience for Saul to go, okay, this isn't completely hopeless because I've lost my gourd.
Yeah, other than I'm a madman.
Yeah, I'm crazy. You never know what I'm going to do. So, instead what we got was, I hear your conviction. And it takes the heart of me, And so he basically gets, convinced by David's zeal, even though from Saul's perspective, he's literally a shepherd boy who plays the harp and you're going to put him up in front of a giant. I don't care if Saul's crazy. That doesn't make sense. Even crazy people have a logic. And he ain't that crazy anyway. He's sentient in this scene. So it didn't work. It's like all of a sudden he just magically believes in David because, the plot needs to happen. When that should have been set up. And you had 8 flippin' episodes to set that up. Again, you could have had David explaining his stories to Saul. You could have had him training under Jonathan. You could have done a million different things. We did none of them. We got all of 2 scenes of him playing the harp in front of Saul. That's it. Why? Because we had to get to Saul's wife. This show is entirely about Saul's wife, and it's infuriating. So, that's probably my first big complaint, is that there's no justification for David actually getting out in front of the giant. Number 2, the other thing that doesn't make sense when you get to episode 8, and let me actually take a step back. 6 and 7 are good because they move. 8 slows the crap down.
Right.
It is ridiculous.
The whole hour is just build up to the very end.
It's killing time. It's not even build up because all the events are like disjointed and have no connection to anything.
Like, they could have played the last 5 minutes of 8 and been good.
Well, a basic rule of writing, yeah, exactly. The basic rule of writing, though, is you're supposed to have a climax and falling action. And then, if you're hoping for another season, you set up for the next season, which they didn't do. Except they had Jonathan's younger brother become king for
Was
like
that-
I
was
don't
that a
know.
thing?
I don't know, but not that anybody cares because whether it's in the Bible or not, it's going to last for all of 5 minutes. It ain't going to be a permanent development. So they had the little brother come back, but we're bouncing around too much. Yeah, they had the little brother come back, and that was the closest thing to a falling action that you got. But they just skipped the falling action and went straight to a cliffhanger, basically. But, you know, the way that the story is supposed to go is you're supposed to have a climactic event, and then you show the ramifications of the climactic event, and then you set up for the next season because you're in the last episode. So this fight between David and Goliath should have happened around the halfway point of episode 8, at the latest.
Right.
Instead, it happens literally 14 minutes before the show is over. And it's literally the same shot of him dodging the same 3 spears for 5 of that 14 minutes until he finally throws the rock. Like, it's just like a bunch of killing time to get to what everybody knows is going to happen. And this is the absurdity of it. Like, we see those same spears thrown during the first freaking episode. So it's like, you've got the same battle sequence teased at the beginning. You have to watch it again, and then there's nothing new added to the battle. He literally does one little twisty hop jump thing, and then chucks the rock, and that's like the only new footage. So you got to sit there for 8 episodes to watch the same freaking sequence twice.
Not good writing.
No, not good writing at all. So I was just like astonished. And the other thing is, this is the other problem. David is absolutely incensed that Goliath is like insulting God. David has sang about God in Hebrew throughout this series. He has not said hardly anything about God throughout the entire show. And then in the last episode, it's like, oh, how dare you? It's like, where did that passion come from? It hasn't been here the entire time. You know? Yeah. It's like, oh, you're insulting God. It's like, well, everybody else believes in God in this show. Why are you the only one incensed? We didn't see any justification for that. He just randomly gets mad.
Because of his vision.
His vision that Samuel explained to him.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, but where's the ire? Like, there's no passion for God. You don't see him actually like chasing God. You see things happen to him and then he asks questions about it. But you don't actually see him having passion for God at any point until we get to that moment, and then he gets mad enough that he wants to kill a giant. It's like, okay, look, if you're going to really build up the speech, then worshiping God needs to be a part of David's character, and we need to see that. Instead, he is an angsty little teenager throughout this entire show. He cries whenever Michael or the girlfriend calls him a bastard. It's like, are you going to leave me too?
Oh, yeah.
He really cried? He said that?
Yeah.
Gamma.
Tears in his eyes. Are you going to leave me too? Like, they're emasculating David. Shut up,
Yeah,
show.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He wouldn't give a shit.
Well, not at this part. It's like, I mean, I forgot, though, to be fair to the show, I did forget that Saul does promise one of his daughters to be married. I don't know if David would have known her at this point in the story, but because of that promise, I guess it's fair to set up the girlfriend in this season. So you could have devoted 1 episode to her, and it would have been fine. What you shouldn't have done is had an entire episode 5 where, like, nothing happens except this big, where
Red
basically
wedding.
nothing happens. David and the girlfriend fight because she's got to get married, but nothing else happens. Like, nothing changes in the story. Like, it's really just bonkers.
That's a good show, too.
Yeah, it was a good show. All right, so that's problem number 2. Beta David, I guess, since we're talking about socio-sexual economics here in a little bit. So Beta David. The other problem is Goliath is a beta too. Every man is a beta in this show, which gets us to the DEI, but we'll talk to that here in a minute. Yeah. So
What is
Hang on a minute.
Dysfunction, equity, idiots.
Can
or
somebody
something.
turn on the live stream and make sure we're not lagging? Because I am getting a lot of, this signal is unstable.
We
It's
we
super-
are a little grainy.
We're a little grainy, huh?
It's
volume, but it looks like it's open.
Well, according to OBS, I'm committed anyway, so I guess we're stuck. Yeah, just let me know if we're lagging too bad, though. So I should have turned the latency up, but OBS decided to be mean and cantankerous again. So anyway, what's next? So Goliath is also a beta male, mama's boy.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, we're good? Okay, great. So Goliath is also a mama's boy. And I just didn't buy that these giant murderous thugs would get slapped by their mother and put in their place all the time. Like, I'm just like, no, I don't buy that at all. Like, at all.
That's crazy. They're like not exhibiting any alpha characteristics in television programming at all.
Yeah, like, you're not allowed to be like a regular dude, even if you're the bad guy. Like, even the women have to be worse than the bad guys. It's crazy. So
All the men
anyway,
have to seek feminine approval.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, Goliath is a mama's boy, and he has a lot of fun fighting with the Philistines, but she says, no, they're not going to let you be a god among men, so we're going home.
that I did think that part at the very beginning of 6, they pulled that from the Book of Enoch, explaining where the giants came from. I thought that was cool.
That initial opening scene was cool, and it was cool that the girl explained it, the mom explained it. But the fact where, like, that scene where she, like, slaps them and then is, like, forcing them into the cave, like, completely emasculating those guys, like, absolutely ridiculous. So, there's
And
that.
another
Huh?
line-
Huh? Are you still there? Hello? Trevor? Can you hear me?
Hear you.
Okay, there you go.
Hear me?
No, I lost you
there
for
it
a
is.
second. Yeah, lost you altogether for a second. Okay, no, so here, while you're working on that, let me just get to what I'm getting at. I was a little annoyed, but I didn't actually get mad about it until episode 8, where Goliath is like, "For you, mother," and then chucks the third spear at David. And I'm like, why would he, like, why would he say "for you, mother" towards a random shepherd boy? It's like, I'm going to avenge you, Mom, by killing this farmer. It's almost like Goliath knew who David was.
Yeah.
Weird. It's like, and furthermore, it's like, why would you have this character insulting God, but his real motivation be his mommy? It's like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, well, great. Now we have to shoehorn the scripture in because you people have added so much random crap. It's like,
I guess that's what happens a lot.
yeah, it's no trying to.
He's worshiping his mother instead of God.
Yeah, and apparently the best way to honor his mother is to kill some random teenager that's charging him with a rock.
Yeah, because he's trying to hurt me.
Yeah. You sent this shepherd boy to insult me. So, anyway. So, he was going to kill a random sheep herder to avenge his mom, and that was supposed to be consistent with his character for some reason. So, that was absolutely... Yeah, pretty much. So, that was absolutely ridiculous.
Didn't Goliath have 4 brothers instead of...
There's 5 giants total. The only urban legend that's not in scripture that I heard was the fact that the only reason David chose 5 stones was because there were 5 giants, not because he thought he would miss.
Yeah.
So,
But in the show, it only showed Goliath and 3 others.
did it? I thought it showed all 4.
Yeah, I was trying to look for all 5 of them, and I didn't see it.
They ran out of CGI money.
They ran out of money to make one more giant.
Yeah. We don't get a 5th giant. We got to pay Saul's wife. So,
Right.
gosh. All right, so let's talk about her for a minute. She does absolutely nothing in this show.
No, she saved Saul.
She babies him. She babies him, but what does she actually do? Like she hires some random pagan woman, which I don't even know why the pagan woman is there, because she basically drugs Saul with some kind of meth concoction towards the end of the show, and then she's just standing around like an idiot for the rest of the series.
She's in, man. New Age.
New
know what
Age,
that is, right?
Yeah, I know what New Age is, but this is like the Bible, like way old times. There's no. I get she's a pagan, but she doesn't do anything. She doesn't contribute to the plot. She stands there and goes, boy, this is a really bad demon. I'm like, oh, no kidding. You do this for a living, I see. So.
Well, I just took her as like a level 1 witch. She's still learning New Age.
Yeah, but you have to have some relevance to the plot. Like, if you're going to introduce a character like that, she has to do something that actually justifies her entering into the palace so she can do the other thing. She literally doesn't do anything.
No, she doesn't.
Until the very end, where she makes the blue goo that makes Saul not crazy anymore for like 10 minutes. But he has to keep taking the blue goo, you know, which Eamon Hillman, I probably would make all sorts of inferences about that. You know, it's the purple.
Man.
It's the purple goo.
Or the purple, yeah.
You gotta watch the purple.
Come on, man. You know it's the purple. Like,
Yeah.
you know the purple.
It's the purple. Yeah.
Oh, we got a new show, The House of Purple.
Oh, I hate that guy.
So, let's see.
So, hey, do you think that they put characters in shows like this just to try to take a shot at giving all the people that watch it a box to relate or to fit in, like a character they can relate to?
Yeah,
yeah.
That's the problem.
For sure.
We're going to get into this
So,
DEI stuff. That's part of what's
Do
going on.
you think that's part of what that character is?
Yeah, she's a DEI hire. They're just basically
Nice.
fluff it up. I mean, that's
Okay.
really what's going on. Is they
Well,
gotta
So they want
you
people
gotta
to
have
act like
characters.
this chick.
Yeah, well, they gotta have characters other than Jews and Philistines. Like, you can't have good guys and bad guys. So it's like, no, we need to get that diversity. So they just have like these random characters from other nationalities for no reason. That's really what it's about. So
You gotta have other characters besides Jews and Philistines.
yeah,
You knocked my head off.
they had some Hebrews in there.
stop it.
That's it. I was being funny.
All right.
You exposed my bald spot.
Racist.
Terrible.
Terrible. What's the matter with you? Go see a Greek Orthodox priest or something.
Yeah, I'll give him a couple Hail Marys or whatever.
Yeah. What's the patron saint of racism, Cody? You might need to go see him.
I think it's Mike Jones.
Oh, okay. So,
Dave,
all right.
Dave Chappelle.
Dave
It's Dave Chappelle. It's a patron saint of racism.
Oh gosh. All right, so I don't even know why I write notes. These things are a mess. So anyway, let me just
What? I thought they
compliment
were
the show.
sticky.
They're a mess and they're sticky. So let me compliment the show on 2 points. What is that actor's name? I can never remember his name, but the guy who plays Samuel. I am gonna find.
Is his name Samuel L. Jackson?
No, you're not even.
That would be
close. That would be funny. It'd make no sense, but it would be funny. All right, Stephen Lang. Stephen Lang was a joy in this
He's
show.
really good. Yeah.
Every scene he is in is absolutely incredible.
Especially when he kicked Jonathan's butt.
Yes, there's that. That was a good scene. But just his relationship with David and the way he smiles and laughs at some of the petty teenager jokes and kind of laughs them off, which is really the only way you can play some of that snotty stuff. I mean, some of it was meant to be David being playful. Some of it I thought was a little... I wondered if it was a little more petty. But he played it right. And, yeah, I mean, I would say this show is worth watching. Skip 5 and 4.
Skip 5.
Just start at 6. You'll be all right.
Just 1 and 8.
Yeah, just don't even waste your time with the first 5 It's
Start
just
at
6 and
6.
7. Just 6 and 7. That's all you need.
And the last 5 minutes of 8.
Yeah, and last 5 minutes of 8. That's really
Hey,
all
that's
you need.
kind of my argument with the Bible, isn't it?
Shush.
You can skip the beginning, just read the Jesus stuff, and you're good.
Read the Jesus
We'll
thing
debate
first.
that another time, sir. But so anyway, yeah, Samuel is amazing. There's really nobody who's a bad actor, and even the characters I don't like from a storytelling standpoint. The actresses and actors did fine. Samuel's the highlight of this show, though.
Yeah.
Stephen
Which he
Lang
should
is
be,
amazing.
honestly.
Yeah, he should be. Saul did good. I liked Jonathan's arc, except for episode 8, where he gets captured and then is just randomly let go. And I'm like,
Yeah, that was kind of silly.
yeah, that was stupid. There's no way that would have happened. Again, killing time.
Yeah.
It's just, ha, we tricked you by making you go with a bunch of mercenaries. Those mercenaries betrayed you. Ha, you're now captured by the Philistines. Go tell your dad we captured you. And that's the end of the story. So, that was pretty stupid. Oh, the other actor I wanted to compliment, the guy who played Abner. It took me a while to recognize him.
Yeah, his character, he does good.
Yeah, the actor's awesome. It took me forever to figure out who he was from, though. Who he is.
Well, he's on The Mummy?
He was. His name is, if I can,
It's an underrated movie.
Oded Feher. Yeah. So yeah, he was. What is this? Yeah, he was the actor in The Mummy. And so that's why he's such a good job. I went through the whole movie going, I've seen that guy before. Where have I seen him before?
Can you pull up a picture of him?
Yeah, hang on here. Let me get the share screen up, but that was what I was complaining about a second ago. My media source is being stupid.
Is it the little funny guy that's in shoot, what's he in?
What are you talking about?
No, that's not him.
Why are you saying words, Cody?
Words to hurt.
All right, here we go. Here we
Sorry.
go. No, you're good. I blame you entirely. Come on. Oded Fair.
Fur.
I can't. You know, this diversity stuff sucks because I can't say any of the names and I just look like a fool. But anyway. So there we go. Oded Fair.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
He does an amazing job in this show. He's a very good Abner. He took a character I didn't really know anything about and made me interested in him. So, compliments to him. He does a very good job. And nobody
Great
does
hair.
a bad job. Huh?
Great hair.
Great hair. Oh, it's amazing hair. You should see
Oh,
his
I
beard in
recognize
this
that guy.
You should see his beard. Oh, it's pretty. In this show, it's pretty. Like you should also just watch this show just for the beard. His beard is makes it worth the price of admission. Again, skip 1 through 5. But anyway,
Just edit out everything else and only have scenes with Samuel.
it's just a beard and Samuel floating around.
Or just play the scene over and over again where he talks about the olive oil in his
Oh
hair.
yeah, the olive oil in his hair. Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty funny. I think that's everything. Too much time on. I think the show has 3 or 4 problems. Problem number 1: the pacing is terrible. 1 is good. 2 I don't even remember. 3 is all right. 4 is awful. 5 is awful. 6 and 7 are good, and 8 is awful. It's not even like moving fast to build tension or whatever at certain points, and then there's no rising and falling action. It's just chaotic moments where there's a lot happening and then none happening because they're basically killing time. So
Kind of like The Hobbit.
Yes, actually, The Hobbit's that's actually a very apt analogy, Trevor. The Hobbit, it's very similar to The Hobbit in that way. It just kills time for no blasted reason because it's trying to justify, 8 episodes. But what's really frustrating is they fill up that time with all the wrong crap, i.e. 2 episodes devoted to the girlfriend, who's supposedly in love with David, but then goes, "Wee!" as if she doesn't need no man. So
Ugh.
yeah, it's great. Episode 5 was a gem. But anyway,
Um,
so
it,
that's sorry. Go on.
it seems like a lot of TV shows. Me and my wife talk about this quite often. A lot of TV shows now are they're they're junk, and so they like there's no talent in them, and they just put boobs in them and stuff to keep people entertained because everybody's so damn desensitized. So
Right.
I just gotta see porn all the time to stay entertained in TV.
Yeah, same terrible.
And
This is the House of David. Same terrible writing. No cleavage.
yeah,
Just the terrible writing. You're welcome.
yeah.
But it's modest, terrible writing.
It's all garbage. I don't know.
It's modest, virtuous, terrible writing. So
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah, I seen a video of the comparison between Disney's lightsaber sword fights and Lucasfilm's sword
Oh, it hurts.
lightsaber
That
fights.
hurts.
It's like,
Yeah,
oh man.
yeah. That's a painful thing to watch. Anyway, let me
Is it
try to
really
get
that
through
bad?
this because
I
we
haven't
still got to
seen
do the. Don't watch the Disney Star Wars trilogy. That thing needs to die. You don't need to see it. It'll just hurt you. So,
No, I mean I never got into it or anything, but I've never seen the comparison. Like what makes
Oh.
it the lightsaber series or seen worse.
have you ever seen a 2-year-old swing a bat?
Yeah.
That's pretty much all the fighting. It's
Oh.
like it's just like imagine 2 toddlers swinging bats at each other, going, "We're sword fighting." So
So there's no skill or training in the
very
choreography.
little
of-
choreography. Yeah,
Very.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
very little blocking.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, they were teaching. I think I was in 8th grade, in stagecraft. They were teaching sword fighting. Like,
Yeah.
like that's some fundamental shit. You got to know that.
Yeah,
can do
yeah,
it.
you can get hurt.
Exactly.
Run into Hollywood and be like, "Hey, I can sword fight. I used to hit a tree with a stick."
Yeah, it's like our dynamic epic battles in Grandma's backyard were better choreographed than the Disney Star Wars fights.
I mean, we were pretty good though. Let's be real.
That's true. We were quite skilled. With a lot of bloody knuckles to show for it. But yes, we were quite skilled.
Hey, you remember when we put Greg in that barrel and rolled him down the hill?
I can't imagine how that went wrong. I don't remember anything about it, but I'm sure Greg was bleeding by the end.
No, I don't think he bled, but I don't think it was fun.
Was it at their house or grandma's house?
Hey, grandma's. Remember
Yeah.
the rope hill? Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I was
I feel
thinking.
like
I was
he-
like, did you really roll him down that giant hill at Dad's? Because he should be
Yeah.
dead if that happened.
Oh no.
I don't see him
No,
coming
that
back
was
from
scary.
that.
No.
We rolled down that hill a few times.
You couldn't even sled down that hill. It was terrifying. We tried.
That was a big hill.
Yeah, you try. Once that sled's breaking 30, you're like, this is a bad idea. So- anyway. No, okay, so problem number 2. Too many strong, independent women's. There ain't a single man that like draws inspiration from anything other than a woman. So you've got David, his source of inspiration isn't God, it's his mother. You've got Goliath, same thing. He's inspired by his mom. Samuel's inspired by his wife. There's this one weird scene where he's like having his moment of despair and the wife's got to pick him up. Has nothing to do with anything at all. It's just we had to have that one scene where Samuel shows weakness and the wife props him up. Again, DEI. And then we've got Saul's wife, which she pretty much is the star of this show. Like Trevor, you got to admit that's a pretty fair analysis.
No, I agree
She
with you.
has more screen time than anybody else,
She literally has the most screen time, yeah.
and she does nothing. It's infuriating.
Well, she saves the day.
How?
Well, she sends David in to help Saul.
No, that was the one
She-
good useful thing the girlfriend did.
She got the new to agey witch to show up and give him the blue.
Yeah. The blue witch discovered the purple or whatever it was at the end of the series.
It's the purple
It's the purple man. So Yeah, so she brought a demon worshiper into the house, so good job. I don't think I don't really know what she does except like buy people off and kind of like they tried to create the impression that she was running the thing, but I'm like, oh, if that's the case, then the elders would be going to her, not Saul. Anyway, basically, she's like Woodrow Wilson's wife throughout this entire thing. For those who don't know, Woodrow Wilson had like a stroke, and then his wife like ran the presidency for a couple years or whatever. It was the same kind of deal.
Woodrow Wilson was drinking the purple.
Yeah, he was in the purple, man.
You're way better at that than
me. What president isn't drinking the purple?
Oh gosh, we don't need to know. So that's it. Yeah. Don't watch this show. Well, watch 6 and 7. 6 and 7 are good. It would be worth your time to watch 6 and 7 and study Oded Fehr's beard. That is a thing of legends.
Yeah.
And Samuel's beard ain't bad either, but I kind of think that one's fake. No, but Oded, that's a real beard, and it's marvelous. So, they should make a sequel about that beard. This is going to get a season 2, by the way. Now.
Oh my, who's funding this?
The government, CIA.
I thought we got USAID shut down. I thought your
so
boy
too.
Elon was shutting it down.
I thought so too. Promises, right? I don't know what's going on right now.
He didn't shut down.
They'll get to it, I'm sure. Okay, so I've been promising this for 3 weeks, and so I am a man of my word, even though I was kind of wrong, kind of not wrong. I wanted to show what's really wrong with this, series, because it's DEI. I mean, they basically wrote to accommodate the secular checklist. And this would have been caught, the timeline kind of lines up because this would have been shot a year or 2 ago. And it's just coming out now. So, okay, my mic's working. Yeah, everything's working. I don't want to be muted. So, Amazon MGN Studios Inclusion Policy and Playbook. This is what I think they're doing. I've got a video pulled up. We'll watch for a few minutes because there's a checklist that they pull up about halfway through the video that I want to match those individual characters to. And so, or those individual moments, different things in the show I wanted to match that checklist with. But we need to start with preferencing this. So back in 2021, they had Amazon and MGM had an inclusion policy and playbook. So this is their DEI checklist, right? So it's a set of guidelines implemented in 2021 to promote diversity, equity, inclusion in the production and hiring practices. It was aimed to increase representation of diverse voices on screen and behind the scenes, and to create more inclusion and equitable work environment. However, it has been discontinued because it's illegal. But anyway, so as part of broader changes in Amazon's DEI strategy. In other words, Trump won, and they're going to go to jail if they keep pulling this crap. So that's what that translates into. Now, the next thing that I wanted to bring up is this is called the Bechdel test, and Amazon passes this too. But this is why this is one of the reasons you have so many strong female women in these shows, because apparently this is like all the rage in these Hollywood circles. So the Bechdel test, or the Bechdel, who cares? Bechdel-Wallace test is a measure of representation of women in film and other fiction. The test asks whether a work features at least 2 women who have a conversation about something other than a man. So that's literally that's it. That's the test. Or there are 2 women. There's got to be more than one woman. And do they have a conversation? Do they talk together? And do they talk about something other than a man? So the short answer is yes, but they take this thing and go like dramatically over the top with it.
I could see that being a good test.
Yeah, if it stayed there, but that's not what happens. What happens is all the men become pacified, and the women are like secret rulers of everything, But this is where that started, with writers like that pushing that test. So,
new chatter in.
Oh,
After y'all have said, I don't think I could even enjoy the House of David.
We've done a good
Yeah,
thing.
I
You're
mean-
welcome. No, it's pretty bad, man. It's pretty bad. But welcome to the chat.
We do talk a lot of shit, though.
We are big fans of hyperbole, but
Yeah.
in this case, the hyperbole is just referring to Oded's beard. The show really is awful. The beard is amazing, though.
Watch the show for the beard, man.
Yeah, watch the show for the beard. So anyway,
Watch it for the purple.
watch it for the purple.
The purple beard.
Gosh. What if that guy ever watches himself on the internet and goes, "Boy, I really need to take some vocal coach lessons or something."
We
Some of
already
my
did.
vocal cords are gonna snap.
Yeah.
All right, so this video is by Film Threat, which I highly recommend these guys. These guys basically keep up with the Hollywood and the censorship and all the Orwellian crap that's going on out there. So they do good work. You see them on Friday Night Tights and different places. So Film Threat, Chris Gore, I believe is this guy's name. I don't know the gentleman here. Chris Gore and Alan. I'm not going to pronounce these names. This is not too many foreign names, man. Sorry, dude. So Alan, your name is going to stay Alan. They're going to talk about this playbook because here's the thing. Amazon basically deleted this thing once these guys and other YouTubers caught it. Once they figured out what the gig was up, again, they'll go to jail because that crap is illegal. So they took it down. So this is them talking about that playlist. And then once we actually reach the checklist, we'll compare some of the bullet points to the House of David.
How can you be creative in an environment where so many rules are being thrown out? You've got storytelling, which is here. You've got gender, sexuality, romance, and humor. This is
Those are genres.
domestic roles, stereotype.
Hey, look, an ad.
Prior to working with
Ooh.
Popular Kings,
I am so sick of these
never
things.
ever got responses from
They've gotten
This
bad
is your
lately, though.
legislating
Yeah, they
how
have.
people can be, what types of characters, script-based descriptions and stereotypes, gendered or sexualized descriptions, personality traits. This is
Yeah.
So my
All right, let's take a moment here and study the women's personalities, all right? So, Trevor, I'm going to read this checklist off to you. And you tell me if this describes any of the women we've seen on this show. So,
Yes.
are you describing women's personalities in ways that lead to assumptions about their sexuality? For example, are descriptions such as the girl next door used for characters? I would say no on that one, although they do blame the girlfriend for being the perfect older sister.
Yeah,
That's
that's probably
probably-
think of one. I'm not real sure.
I don't think that one matches. So be sure that your character descriptions do not evoke stereotypes related to women of color. Avoid use of the term exotic, feisty, sassy. Sassy is sexist? Really? Like if you're sassy, that means that has a sexual connotation? Whoever wrote this was a pervert. I don't see anything dirty about that. All right. And other words stereotypically used to refer to underrepresented women. I thought that was all women. Sexist. It's better to be specific. The lead is from Puerto Rico, loves to sing, and has a big group of friends. Well, that was specific. Yeah.
I'm just confused now.
Basically,
That's the point.
they don't want two-dimensional characters. That's pretty much it. Although that's really I don't know what being from Puerto Rico has to do with anything, but okay. For LGBTQ plus women, ensure that personality traits do not play to stereotypes, either about femininity, masculinity, or over-sexualization. Now, I will say there are some characters that are delightfully ambiguous in this series. So I think that the show probably does match this checklist, if I were to say. I would say that Prophet Baal girl is kind of supposed to be not androgynous, but kind of her lifestyle is in question, let's say. And also that guy that's like an atheist and cuts, like dissects things for reasons.
Yeah, definitely creepy.
He was flamboyant. He was very flamboyant, and I think he might have been ticking a box. So anyway, descriptions of
He's ticking a lot of boxes, that's for sure.
yeah, and killing goats apparently. So descriptions and pigs. Descriptions of people with disabilities may focus on aspects related to disability rather than a range of characteristics. Make sure your characters with disabilities are well-rounded and defined by more than their disability. This is why, and this is my opinion, this is why I think they chose to go with Saul's possession the way that they did, because they treated it like a disability. I mean, really, that's what it was. They treated it like Alzheimer's. They treated it like, or Alzheimer's. They treated it like a stroke. They made like parallels that, you know, typically when somebody says there was an evil spirit sent to torment Saul, that you're usually thinking like haunting type stuff. They didn't go that way with it. They went with like debilitating seizures and all, mental
illness.
stuff. Yeah, they went heavy in the mental illness direction. I think that was ticking this checkbox. I think that they chose to go more mental illness rather than supernatural to hit a checkbox there. To hit that, hit that
he
one.
He was supernaturally, mentally
Yeah,
by
technically.
the Witch King.
But it's the Bible should be painting that in demonic possession instead of.
I think it would. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think
It shouldn't be painting it as a mental illness. That's made up shit.
Well, the thing is, and this is the other thing that the show gets wrong, is that David's playing actually works. That's why Saul keeps him around. Like, the playing is actually effective because he's singing about God, which makes sense if you're dealing with an evil spirit.
Right.
But the way that they're depicting it, it's like his singing doesn't even work. At one point, he like plays till his fingers are bleeding, and Saul's still out of it. He thinks he's talking to Jonathan because he's like having an Alzheimer's episode, which implies that the music wasn't even effective, which is inconsistent with the Bible.
Yeah.
So I think that they needed to depict that the evil spirit thing as a mental illness so that they could hit this checklist. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Looking at it like they're trying to paint it as a disability instead of something that God can fix. And
Right.
It's just not like God can fix anything, obviously.
Yeah, well, it's like, to be fair, they did kind of imply that God sent it. It was just the depiction of it was like 110% in the mental illness route. Like it's like it was a weird hodgepodge of schizophrenia, Alzheimer's. Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that either. And it made Saul seem incompetent and gave his wife way too much screen time because I don't know what she does. But anyway, so moving on.
I sent this to my friend who's going to be on the show next week, Jim Agnew. He has been on the show before. He's been paying attention to a lot of this stuff.
He was on with us during the strike.
Yeah, he talked about the strike with us. So he was my guy to get me the inside on what's going on with the strike. Look at this. Okay, this is basically for the screenwriters out there. Personality traits. The description of a character's personality or distinctive traits may lead to appearance-related stereotypes. Sometimes character descriptions are written in a way that draws upon individuals from underrepresented race. For example, are descriptions such as that your character to refer to underrepresented women. It is better to be specific, e.g., the lead is from Puerto Rico, loves to sing, either about rather than
sassy.
Here we go. Domestic rules. Let's see what he has to say about this.
Domestic roles. This is, okay, DEI, right? We want diversity. No, we want to tell you how to write your script.
Yeah.
This is not, while this website is public, this isn't easy to find. It's at ccdeia.com. ccdeia.com. And I'm going through.
Which, again, it's been taken down. This is not up anymore. That's why we're looking at the video instead of the list.
This document is vast. I was going through it and I sent it to my friend who was saying, this is Orwellian nonsense. Domestic roles. Consider the description of caregiving and romantic relationships. whether they fall along stereotypical or traditional lines, e.g., heteronormative, women as subservient, men as protector provider, meaning don't do the stereotypes. For more information on the concept benevolent sexism, read here. Oh my God. I'm going to go back though.
Benevolent.
Hollywood is not the
It's a
dream.
whole other website.
I wish the site was still
Hollywood
up
is
because I
not the
want to
dream.
read this essay. Benevolent sex. What's it? Benevolent sexism. That's a cute term.
That's so silly.
Yeah, it's Orwellian to the max.
It's such backwards thing. Like, God, women want to be protected, and they're like, all of this is like, stop protecting us.
Well, see, they want the women to want the government to protect them. You know,
Right.
so they got to
that's,
feminize all the men. You know, you got to
Yeah.
turn all the women all the men into a bunch of like, are you gonna leave me too? You know, type characters, so that they'll go, well, I guess I'm gonna lean on Uncle Sam. Thank you for that.
exactly right.
All right, so let's see. Let's look at this checklist here a little bit. I think this will pretty much drive the point home. Are women from all backgrounds and experiences defined solely by their relationship to children? As if that would be bad. It's like, you want people to know you have a child. Well, aren't you a backward heathen? Okay. Are LGBTQ plus characters shown as parents? No, they can't breed. But anyway.
That was great.
The non-binary characters shown as parents. No, again, they cannot breed. Are the characters of disabilities shown as parents? Saul has a disability, and he is a parent, but he is inept. And then this was
But
really
it's
the big
mental
one.
illness. It's basically not a disability.
Well, you know, it is in their world. It's like there's a hierarchy here. So I guess disability, mental illness, physical illness. You can't say which person's subjective experience is more difficult, Cody.
This is lunacy.
Yeah, well, you know, this is the government. Let's see what else. This was the big one. Are characters, are men presented as inept when shown as parents or caregivers? Now, note the kind of bait and switch in the way the question is framed. Like everything else is, are characters with disabilities shown as parents? They should be. Are women
like
with all
Peter
back
from Family Guy?
Yeah, like Peter with Family Guy. Yeah. Are non-binary characters shown as parents? Because they should be. Are LGBTQ characters shown as parents? Because they should be. Look at the kind of harsh language in the first one, though. Are women from all backgrounds and experiences defined solely by their relationship to their children? Of course, the way that's written is, it's like, you shouldn't just let women be known by their children. You can't have mothers who enjoy being mothers on a show. That would encourage people to breed. So, trying to limit the population, you Philistine. Anyway, but when you get to the are men inept, the implication is they should be inept.
Yeah.
This is why Jesse was thrown under the bus. This is why Samuel's refuting him. David's mad at him. To make this checklist work, Jesse has to be an incompetent parent. That's why David's a bastard. That's why they did it. This one is probably the biggest one, in my opinion. And this, I think, is the one that proves that they were actually following this checklist when they wrote this.
Yeah. It makes sense. It's starting to line up.
Yeah. What do you think, Trevor?
I like your checklist.
It ain't my checklist. Some angry, bitter communist who likes cats too much wrote this. So,
You got a problem with cats?
they deserve to stay in the road. So,
Every time somebody says communist, I think of Seinfeld. And that kid's yelling at Kramer. It's like, this guy's a commie.
Say hi.
oh, I hope that cat scratches you in the face so we can post it on YouTube and go viral.
That'd be
I think
funny.
he wants to.
Get his eye. Get him. Anyway.
Do it, Quilla.
When elderly relatives requiring care are included in the story, who provides that care? It better not be a woman.
You're saying you're a woman?
I want to be one, but anyway.
What
So-
the?
All right. I haven't looked at the rest of this to see if there are any other rules. Let me check ahead. Looks like stereotypes and humor. Means no funny accents. Cody.
Yeah, I'm very racist, evidently.
All right. Let's see here. Asian characters.
Thank you. Come again.
That wouldn't be relevant here. Middle Eastern characters. Well, this is interesting. Let's
I
see.
love listening to you read
Well, thank you,
in
sir.
your mind.
In my mind, yeah. Well, hang on. I'm trying to see if there's anything relevant here. I'm trying to move fast. Okay, so are they shown in violent situations? So you can't show the Middle Eastern people to be terrorists. Are they shown at the extremes of wealth, either as realty sheiks or business tycoons? Oh, so Middle Eastern people can't be rich either. That's not racist. Anyway, are women associated with sexual repression or men shown as predatory in nature? So we got to talk about how women are, like, oppressed, I guess. But we can't show burqas. That would be too far.
Yeah. You would want your society to want to protect its women, but
Well, you don't want to make Islam look worse than Christianity. I mean, that would just be bigoted. So, anyway. So, are they shown as good? I'm assuming that they are either women or transgenders. For their work to assist, that was a joke, by the way, for their work to assist the law enforcement or sympathize with American Western values. So the they in question must sympathize with Western values. In other words, they got to be very bitter about their repression. But we still can't show them in burqas. That actually happens in this show. That's probably why they had an entire episode devoted to that marriage ceremony, even though it contributes nothing to the plot and literally nothing happens. Because they got to show Saul's daughter being angry about being sold as a piece of property. They had to get that in there since they're Middle Eastern characters, so we had to devote an entire episode that contributed zero to the plot. So, Trevor, you think that's a fair assessment?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
so.
I do. Yeah.
I think it's suspiciously apt. So,
let's call this to like it all and make it all. They don't want to show different perspectives,
no.
because then that would change people's minds.
Yeah, well, they just want to destroy anything conceived as traditional. Everything's got to be all, like, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's old, it's bad. And, in order for the communist utopia to rise, it's got to be something new and hip and cool and shiny and all this. Now, why does this matter?
This guy's a commie.
Hey, guys, this guy's a commie. So, anyway, so why does this matter? At the beginning of these reviews, I did not feel a particular sense of annoyance at things being changed. I wasn't all that upset that David was a bastard and all the rest of this. Like, I didn't really care all that much. But as it's gone on, you could definitely tell the hand of the studio was on it, because the shows, like, there's a very consistent story structure that people recognize, and people write it too, because they've just read the same stories and watched the same television over and over again for years. So there are story beats. And so when you get these weird random diversions from the plot that have no connection, if anything, it's usually the studio saying, no, you've got to have this.
There's a reason.
Yeah. And while I am not bothered by adding stuff to biblical stories, and I think that's fine as long as you're creating a Christian ethos, it is a different matter entirely to have a show following DEI checklists and checklists given by a studio. It's one thing to add details to flesh a story out. It's another thing to play ball with people who are inherently secular and hate you. That's the problem, because this stuff is set up the way that it is to destroy Christianity, to destroy traditional values, to destroy anything that we would identify as like sacred and good. And so when you play ball with people like that, even if it's just in little stuff, like in their minds, they may have thought making David a bastard wasn't that big of a deal. But, you know, you do that a little bit at the beginning, the studio's just going to keep asking more. And you're going to need to play ball more to keep getting that money. It's frog in the kettle. And so I suspect season 2 is probably still going to be tolerable, but by the time we get to season 3 or 4, this thing's going to fall off the rails entirely. Because they're not writing to an audience. They're clearly writing to get money.
Yeah.
So I don't...
Yep.
I'm not holding out hope for this show at all, which really sucks because I really like the story of David a lot.
Yeah.
So...
Everybody
Huh?
Everybody subsidized.
Everybody's subsidized. That's right. Well, unless we could get... Hopefully Elon Musk will get rid of this USAID stuff, because you get rid of the government spending money on this crap, this will go away. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's hoping.
Yeah.
You know, we'll end it on let's try to sound happy. Let's end the episode on a positive note, Cody. So,
I mean, you know my thoughts about Elon.
you may say I'm a dreamer,
You miss it.
but I hate John Lennon, so I'm not going to finish the song. But anyway, so, or is that Paul
So does
McCartney? I don't care. I
don't know.
hate the Beatles. Anyway, so,
Paul
They
Lennon.
really bug me.
dad joke for the night. Trevor, you don't get any dad jokes this evening. He stole your dad joke. How does that make you feel?
What are feelings?
Oh my goodness.
Are you having an existential crisis? Do we need to help you?
What are feelings? I can explain to you what feelings are. They're thoughts that you've thought about for too long.
You know that twisting feeling in your gut that makes you want to die and gives you indigestion?
Oh, I thought those were butterflies.
Well, it's gas. But people call them feelings. So, anyway. Okay, we need to stay focused. This is derailing.
I need Pepto-Bismol.
I'm trying to land the plane here.
We're
So-
landing the plane.
Landing the plane. Yes.
Open wide.
Trevor, do you have any thoughts, good sir?
Final thoughts.
Did you find this list compelling? Did I make my case that these people compelling?
Oh, compelling.
Sorry. Did I make the case as to why I think this is House of David DEI edition? Did I make my case?
You made your case, but it's still a good show.
Okay. Well, you're easily pleased. Good for you.
I am very easily pleased.
Cody, what about you, sir?
I personally haven't watched it, but listening to your breakdown on it and hearing you describe the things that happen within the story, it doesn't sound like much of a story, and I think you're right about it being a built on these rules, and that made it garbage.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no.
I appreciate it.
I will say this. You could literally watch the last 10 minutes, give or take, of episode 8, and you'll get the Bible story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will say this, though. It's a terrible show. Don't watch it. But it does have one paragon. That is Oded's beard. And we should all aspire to have a beard like Oded. So, with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. We're not actually leaving. This is just the end of episode 1. We'll move on to episode 2 here in a second. But this is the end of part 1. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Faith, Fiction, and Folklore. If you did, we would love it if you would subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Rumble. We can also be found on X, Instagram, and Facebook. And we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Thank you again very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.